welcome. Almost didn't have my audio on. I got it on now. So, welcome everyone to another episode of Imposter Syndrome Disrupted. This is episode 23, meaning we're almost to the end of the year. Well, we're there. And when I started this show in January this year, wow, didn't know I would get through to the end. But January through to December. Only one more episode left this year for Imposter Syndrome Disrupted, but I'm excited to be here once again. So this is what we do every second and fourth Tuesday without fail. We are here for Imposter Syndrome Disrupted. And guess what? This is episode 23. One more episode. I have another exciting guest already lined up. The guest for this episode is in the green room. She's already, and we're going to have an exciting, very educational, I think, too, episode with information she will share. So let me get started. But welcome, everyone. As I always, encourage you to do, as you come in, come on and share your LinkedIn wins. So put in the comments. Put in your LinkedIn, not your LinkedIn, I'm sorry. I'm a LinkedIn coach. That's all I think about is LinkedIn. So that was a slip. But put in your business wins in the chat, in the comments. I would love to hear about what successes you've had recently. It's all about us in this group empowering each other so we can feel inspired by others when they share that, they're making things happen for their businesses. So put in the comments when you're ready. A recent win. Also, make sure you put in the comments where you're tuned in from. I already know that we have faithful viewers all across the country and all across the world. So put in the chat where you're tuned in from, what city, what country, all of that. But so welcome again. This is episode 23 of Imposter Syndrome Disrupted. I am your creator and your host, Clarene Mitchell. And so as a reminder, background, and even why I launched the show in January, as the LinkedIn Results Igniter, LinkedIn coach, trainer, event speaker, author, all of that, I saw all too often, mostly my women clients who struggled with really owning their brilliance and shining online so that they can get the business, the revenue that they deserve, right? So that's why I created this show as a safe place for us to come together, empower each other, and really, start disrupting imposter syndrome so we can be our bold, brilliant selves here online and in our businesses overall. And so every second and fourth Tuesday, here we are. Let me get to the agenda so I can have enough time for my guests. So as always, I try to share with you an inspirational quote every week, or every episode rather. So without fail, here's another one. Well, actually, before I do that, I've encouraged you to share your wins in the comments section. So I want you to be inspired by one of my recent wins. I have to show off. So I hope you indulge me with this. So recently, I completed a 9-week intensive entrepreneur boot camp and certification program through the National Entrepreneurs Association. And to my delight, to my surprise, I was I'm still like got goosebumps and just excitement about this. I was selected as the valedictorian for the cohort. Like, yes, that's my biggest win recently. Great way to wrap up 2020 like in a bow, like for my business to complete an intensive, and it was for 9 weeks, and the content was phenomenal, but an intensive entrepreneur program, and then to be selected by my peers and the instructor as the leader, as the valedictorian. So that's my win. Just so you know, if you're interested, DM me on LinkedIn and I'll share details with you about the program. Phenomenal opportunity for entrepreneurs. It's an intensive 9-week program, and then a final exam, and then the graduation. They have National Entrepreneurs Association has a orientation for the next cohort that's coming up on January 24th for you to attend and learn more about the program, and then hopefully then you become a part of it as well. So if you're interested in more details, DM me on LinkedIn. But that's my win. Looking forward to you sharing your wins as well in the chat. Who's with me here? Hey, Patricia. I wish I could have stars on my viewers like you can do on Facebook and other platforms, because Patricia is one of my all-time faithful viewers. So, hey, Patricia, nice to see you in the chat, and thank you for the good job. I appreciate that. So, thank you. But one of my all-time faithful viewers of the live version of this show, and okay, so Dr. Caldwell. So I'm glad I put up my recent LinkedIn. Why do I keep saying LinkedIn win? Like, it's just in my brain. But my recent business win, completing the National Entrepreneur Association's program. Dr. Janice Caldwell was one of the instructors. So phenomenal, skilled, expert instructors throughout the program. And Dr. Caldwell was one of the instructors. So it is phenomenal to see her here. Thank you so much. And I'm going to just say this publicly that the module that Dr. Caldwell and her colleague taught, like, and I told the president of National Entrepreneurs Association, I'm still trying to recover from, because it was so intensive, so rich with information that I'm still benefiting from. And it was all about entrepreneurship, leadership for entrepreneurs, if I'm saying that right. So, so glad to have you, Dr. Caldwell. Hey, Kelly, I see you. Excited to have you here. Actually, Kelly is going to enjoy my guest. And so Kelly and I connected initially on Clubhouse, and my guest and I connected initially on Clubhouse, and I'll explain more of that later. So I'm glad you're able to be here, Kelly. So great to have you. Oh, Dr. Caldwell, first time joining my show. So yes, thank you. Every second and fourth Tuesday, put it in your book, put it in your planner, in your calendar for 2022. I'll be back here again in 2022 for the show. But let me get on with the agenda. So the quote: "There is nothing impossible for a queen on a mission to shift herself into a better position. Nothing." And you know how it's all about us being the queens that we are when it comes to our businesses, right? And owning our brilliance and our expertise and all of that. And so when I see queen quotes, I always gravitate to those as well. But there's nothing impossible for us. And I wanted to share that today specifically as a reminder, because we're in the last days, so to speak, of 2021, heading into 2022. Whatever your goals are for your business in 2022, it's nothing impossible. We have to just put things in place, stay dedicated to our goals, and put in the work. But let's dream big, and not just dream big, put the work into making that happen. But there's nothing impossible for us queens. And when it comes to our businesses and getting our businesses to the next level. All righty. And so with that, I want to hasten on to a resource, and I'm going to share my screen for this one. So I hope you have your pens and papers ready. This resource is a grant opportunity. So and I want you, and as soon as I end the broadcast, or, I'm done with everything, I'll try to put the link into the actual comments if you don't find this specifically on your own. But just Google Reimagine Main Street. This grant opportunity is specifically for Black women entrepreneurs. Great opportunity. The window for the application is very quick, very, very quick. And so the applications are due on, and I'm trying to get through so they just opened up the application process on December 8th, and the application deadline is December 15th. December 15th, tomorrow, December 15th. I completed my application a couple days ago. It was a very quick, easy process, so to speak. Well, maybe I shouldn't say quick, but yeah, relatively speaking, you do need to have maybe your tax information or information to validate your income or your revenue for from January to September of this year, and then for last year, and then the year before. And so for me, I just use my PayPal statements, because you're going to have to upload the documents. But so just Google Reimagine Wall Street, and it's an opportunity specifically for Black women business owners. So make sure you take advantage of that. Like, it could get you the boost to get to the next level for next year. All right. So with that said, let me check the chat again, and then I'm going to go right to my guest. I'm good with time for a change. Oh, thank you. And I think, okay, let me make sure I'm pronouncing your name, Aline. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Welcome, because I think you're a new viewer to the show. Congratulations on your graduation. Nice to have you from Houston. My team grew by 2 members in the past 2 weeks. Yes, congratulations. That is great. Growth is always good for us as business owners, right? Hi. See, another one of my clubhouse. See, it's all my guests' fault that I'm having, in a good way, that I'm having a lot of my clubhouse connections here. Great to have you, Brittany. Good morning. Put one of your recent business wins. I know you have them, Brittany, in the chat, and where you're from. And Dr. Caldwell, and then I'm going to move on. My win book, Women Courageous Leading Through the Lady Breath Publishing. I am contributing author and writer of Chapter 11, found on page 187. All right, congratulations. Good for you. That's exciting. As an author, I understand the achievement of being able to have published work. So congratulations, Dr. Caldwell. And I hope I read that properly. So I'm going to bring on my guest now. And yeah, I'm going to share how we connected, and then we're going to get to the agenda of her sharing her expertise. So here she is.
Yay!
So
Hello.
People can actually see you full screen, and then I'll go to my holiday background.
Ooh, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. This is so cool. I'm totally dying. This is awesome.
Thank you. It's so cool. Okay, that means a lot considering you're an audio summit expert, and then this is cool for you to be on video. But thank you for accepting my invitation to join me, Wendy. And so for everyone, Wendy and so I've shared on LinkedIn how I'm relatively new on Clubhouse to support what I do on LinkedIn, not to replace LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is my business, so to speak. In that process of being on LinkedIn, I was presented with the wonderful opportunity. And actually, the last episode, I promoted the event. So on Small Business Saturday, there was an event called, I'm going to get in trouble, 22 marketing tips for, okay, the whole point was, you can say the exact title, Wendy, but it was featuring 22 speakers, marketing related speakers, to help jumpstart small business owners into 2022.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. So it was called 22 Marketing Secrets for 2022.
There it is.
And we now just refer to it as the Marketing Secrets Summit.
Okay.
And it was such a great opportunity. And, here's kind of what happened is, and this is, I think, so important, is you were in a room one day with, and this was a few months ago, way before the summit, way before my partner and I, Annabelle Byhan, decided to even host the summit. You were in one of her rooms, and we both heard you talk about LinkedIn. And it was one of the first times you had ever been in her room. And when Annabelle and I sat down and said, because we handpicked the speakers for this summit, we said, thank you, Kelly. It was such an awesome day. I'm so glad that Kelly Williams is here with us today. Yeah. The first thing we said is, we have to get Clarene Mitchell to join us. We just knew it because you had made, I know, really, right? Are your ears burning?
I was truly a Clubhouse newbie then. Like, maybe days I had just been on Clubhouse. And so to understand, or to know that within days of me, in days of me being on the platform, whatever I said, I don't even know what I said. I need to, I wish I could I wrote it down because whatever it is said, I said made that much of an impact. Wow, thank you.
Yeah, it was really powerful. Like, we both walked away from that very first time we heard you, and we were like, "She's the real deal. Like, she's not here to
Oh,
showboat. She
mm-mm.
gets it. She's, you like take over, you beat your imposter syndrome by your elegance. And that is so important to lean into that. So, thank you for
Oh,
having me here. This is really a treat for me."
okay, now like I'm getting all the feels and everything. Let me get back in my professional mode here. um, so thank you. So again, I was a speaker for their summit on Small Business Saturday, and I was so impressed with this was a full day summit. And I didn't just get on, I was later in the agenda. I didn't just get on, wait until it was my time on the agenda to plug in, so to speak, or tune in. I was on from the beginning to the end, and it blew my mind how well it was organized, and just from one speaker to the other, and they stayed on you and Annabelle. And okay, FYI, Annabelle is my guest for the next episode. So you didn't know that?
That's awesome. You're going to have so much fun.
So I get to end the year with the two of you, but every speaker, you stayed on time. There was just no gaps, and it just flowed seamlessly. It was a power packed day. So honored to have you here. If you could please introduce yourself. Who are you? Who is Wendy Breakstone?
Yeah, thank you. So, well, first and foremost, I am a entrepreneur. I'm a wife and a mother of a 15-year-old son. I have pets in the house. I have a life outside of my entrepreneurial business, right? And right now, what I focus primarily on is helping people use micro audio summits, which is a strategy that I created to grow their email list and
Mhm,
to be able to stop doing some of the outdated or overused strategies that a lot of the bigger gurus are still teaching that I think are not as powerful as they used to be.
mhm,
And I wanted to be able to come out from as a coach, and for years also being a marketing operations director and working behind the scenes for my clients,
uh-huh,
building their businesses, running their events for them.
uh-huh,
um, when I decided that I was going to build my own business, I did not have an audience. I didn't have an authority. I didn't have a lot of authority in the space anymore. I had authority in my small group, but I wanted to expand. And one of the ways that I really wanted to lean into growing my business was to build my email list. And so the audio summit strategy really resonated with me because you can quickly get in front of other people's audiences. So for instance, when you were in our summit a couple weeks ago, not only was it a benefit for myself and my co-host Annabelle to bring these speakers together, but all of the speakers were in front of everybody's audiences. So it
yeah,
was it's a
yeah,
very powerful strategy to grow quickly if you don't have audience authority or email list. And that's truly why I decided to focus there, is because so many people and so many women specifically have the entrepreneurial spirit, right? Being an
mhm,
entrepreneur is more about a spirit. You can own a small business, but do you really feel like you're an
mhm,
entrepreneur in your heart,
yeah,
right? And so many women have that desire and that feeling, but they feel like the underdog.
mhm.
And I wanted to create something where women could be uplifted and have a strategy that was easy. So that's kind of how I decided to niche down into just helping people focus on audio marketing and audio summits.
That's great. I just had a conversation with a colleague yesterday about, because his expertise is doing streaming
Mhm.
um, programs and other activity events online, doing, because it's relevant now. It's what's current. And so, how you describe what you do with the audio summits reminded me of my conversation with him, how, you're staying relevant to what's now and what's continuing to grow versus the traditional ways that people are still used to doing and still, no offense to anyone, still stuck in doing,
Mhm.
um, where we don't get as much traction because we're not being innovative, we're not staying, current and relative, and being able to like really reinvent ourselves. So I really appreciated that breakdown and just putting that in context. I shared with you before we came on how when I was promoting this event and I was saying that you're an audio summit expert, people were like, huh? Like, what is that? Like, I did too. And I meant that. Like, before I met you and I was a part of your event, you and Annabelle's event, that wasn't in my head like an audio summit person. So talk a little bit more specifically, really, what does an audio summit person do? And then I want to get back into your entrepreneurial journey and any insights that you can share, because I really appreciated you talking about, and sometimes people say we have to have that fire in our belly, and it takes me back to what you were saying about that passion or that drive and fire for our businesses, because almost without that, it's hard to be successful,
It's
because
hard.
the life of entrepreneurship is very frustrating, challenging. Yeah, don't remind me the roller coaster.
It's the roller
and,
coaster. It truly is.
and unless we have that real fire and drive, we can easily, and that's why a lot of people sometimes, they give up on the process because they don't have that drive to get them over, all of that process. But I'm sorry, I put a lot out there. So help us understand more. Again, what does an audio summit expert do, and why is what you do important?
Why would I even use that title? Okay, so um, in the spirit of really being disruptive, right? I mean, I had a summit in June and it was called the Rule Breaker Summit. And I believe that we need to lead and not follow. If you're
Yeah,
following what everybody else is doing, you are not breaking free from the pack.
right.
And, I'm not going to lie, being an audio summit coach, which is, what I call myself, there are people out there that are like, what is that? And then they move on because it's a blue ocean, right? Not a lot of people are
I
thinking and
I feel the same way with me
yep,
being a LinkedIn coach and trainer. Like,
yep,
there's not many of us, and especially the way that I approach LinkedIn, there's not many, if any, especially the way I approach it. So I feel the same challenge or dilemma. Like, but it's exciting being in uncharted territory, so to speak. I'd rather
it
be in the
is.
ocean instead of the little fishboat.
Yeah, I mean, I do not want to be in that red ocean, right? When they throw the chum in and there's like a gazillion fish there, right? You need to be
Right.
in the blue ocean. That said, sometimes when you are as an entrepreneur and you find your blue ocean, it can feel a little bit lonely at first and
Yeah.
it does take a little bit of education. But so let me just break this down quickly. Most people are familiar at this point with virtual summits.
Yes.
And a virtual summit is usually videos like
Yes.
this, talking head videos,
Yes.
or a lot of slide presentations. And
Yes.
there's usually a lot of them. It's usually days and days and, 20, 30 plus speakers. And it is a lot, right?
Mhm.
And it requires you to for the attendees to spend a lot of time watching videos. And some of the videos are good and worth it, and some of the videos aren't.
Right.
And when I decided that I wanted to stop doing just one-to-one work and start growing other types of group programs, one of the things I realized is that Brenda has imposter syndrome. Let's
She
fix
does not. Okay, wait a minute. I shouldn't say she does not, because I believe we all have imposter syndrome, including me from time to time. Is be owning that and combating it consistently. But I chuckle because I know Brenda, and Brenda is fabulous. She's a colleague. She's another LinkedIn expert, and she's phenomenal. She shows up online every day, all day long, strong. But great to have you here, Brenda. It's almost like an AA meeting. I'm sorry. I am Brenda Miller. I have imposter syndrome. I don't mean that facetiously at all to laugh at imposter syndrome, but Brenda. Okay.
it's But you know what? I mean, here's the thing. Well, let me finish. I'll finish my thought really quick about the audio summits and this idea of creating a virtual summit that forces people to be chained to their video to their computer screens, right?
Mm,
And one of the things I fundamentally didn't want to do is create more content and a
right.
lot of content that forced people to spend, 10 plus hours watching at their video. We spend so much time at our computers. I wanted to shake it up. I wanted to disrupt it.
Take
So I
it up.
created an audio summit. My Rule Breaker Summit was audio only, just like our Marketing Secret Summit, audio
Okay.
only. And it was a huge success. And so what I want to do now is I want to help people lean into audio. A lot of the times we have imposter syndrome because we, maybe are getting a little bit middle-aged, for instance, right? I'm middle-aged. I'm
Right.
52. I'm not afraid to say it. But
Right.
that means that some days I don't feel like showing up on video. I don't feel like putting on the statement necklace and doing the
Right.
hair.
Yes.
But I still need to grow my business,
Yeah.
right? I can't compete with millennials. I'm not 30. I'm not 40, right? And so, and I don't want to, right?
Thank
How
you.
many times
Thank
I've
you.
been around the block?
Yes.
This is not the first rodeo. And so, I wanted to find a place where I felt so empowered and so strong.
Yeah.
And because here's the thing about, I believe, about imposter syndrome is that a lot of us have imposter syndrome because we've been taught to focus on strengthening our weaknesses
Hmm.
instead of strengthening our strengths.
Right. Showcasing those strengths. Right.
Yeah, and so one of
Hmm.
my strengths is audio. Like, I can talk your head off. But do I always wanna do it on video? No, not always, right? And so when you're focused on, like, trying to get stronger at your weaknesses, you're never gonna feel as good as somebody that already has that as a strength,
Good
right?
point. Good point.
So
Hmm.
so that's kind of, how I landed on audio, and then within audio, there's so many different, ways to incorporate audio now, but really, I just wanted to be disruptive in a way that worked for me, and I have found my tribe of, oh, I love that, Dr. Cardwell. Um, I have found my tribe of women and a few good men that also feel like audio is, you know, is it 2022 is gonna be so much more audio. So
Why are you leaning to that? Or what is giving you that confidence that 2022 is going to be the year of audio?
well, for one thing, we saw a big uptick this past year with social audio. And
Mhm.
social audio, like Clubhouse, like there's one called Wisdom or Green
Mhm.
Room and Fireside. Now Facebook is rolling out audio. LinkedIn is
Mhm.
going to be, I believe, rolling out audio. I don't know if they've
Yes,
beta tested it yet.
they're experimenting. Yes, they
Yeah.
are. Mhm.
And so you can see that all of the social media platforms, all the heavy hitters, are already leaning into creating a social audio version. When you go to audio, there's something so um, there's a deeper layer, right? You can put in your ear pods, you can walk around, and you take the person with you, and you follow them on their during their day, right? Whether they're sitting in line waiting to pick up their child from school, whether they're cooking dinner or walking their dog. I love Wisdom too. I think it's great, Brittany. um, whether they whatever they're doing, whether they're having those moments of self-care and they're just like listening, when you're in
Right.
literally in somebody's head,
I
you're going to build no like trucks faster, right?
I like
And there's so much more that I can communicate with my voice that even that isn't as distracting as even video. Video's great. Video's powerful. um, flat imagery like Instagram and Facebook, and I think all those perfectly curated platforms, people are starting to really get like, that's curated. Like nobody's that. They've got to be a hot mess at some point, right behind the scenes. So, and then with when you do video, there's a lot of people are less experiencing Zoom fatigue now than they were at the beginning of the epidemic.
Mhm.
But um, there's a lot of different inputs and brain activity that we're having to use when we're on video. Between
Right,
I'm watching you, I'm watching me, we're looking
right,
at body language,
right,
we're processing so much
right,
more.
right,
Audio is so like crystal clear. You can hear
right.
it all in audio. So
I
that's
like
kind
how
of why I
you
think.
I like how you referenced it of then you're in my head. You can get in people's heads more directly through audio versus video and other formats. That really, resonated with me. And so without getting in trouble, I'm gonna admit, so I attended your summit all day long, right? But I was multitasking because I didn't have to visually focus, right? And so I could do other things while I was still tuned in on Clubhouse and was listening. So that was appealing to me because
Well,
I
and
didn't.
still you may even kind of like zone out here and there, but I bet you're zoned out, but you're still listening. It's still kind of like going into your subconscious. And I bet the moment somebody said LinkedIn, no matter what you were doing, you came back, right? And so we're picking up more than
Yeah.
sometimes we even realize. And that I think is
Right.
really important.
Right, right. We knew we then tune in at a higher level than different frequency. And I'm not
For
going to get
sure.
in trouble and talk about beta versus alpha and all of that, but like we tune in at a higher frequency than when there's certain things that are said that resonates with us. But I do appreciate it. And I even remember from the summit, and I must apologize, Wendy. So true confession time. The format, the process was the host, so either Annabelle or Wendy,
Mm-hmm.
they tag team, so they alternated between the 22 speakers. So Wendy facilitated my section or segment, and the format was supposed to be, because they prepped us, you sent us all the information well in advance. Um, but it was supposed to be interview style. But of course, once I start talking about LinkedIn, I just like I get into another I get in my zone and then I just go. So I apologize for just turning it into a mini
Are you kidding?
master class.
I thought to myself, like, this is awesome. I don't have to do anything during this interview. She's going to make our summit look terrific. And I don't have to say anything. And, that was the beauty of the summit is, and, part of being an audio summit coach is I teach people how to do interviews. I teach people like how to structure it so that you don't run long, especially
Right.
I don't usually do live summits because anything can happen, and it usually does between tech and
Yeah.
but we went for it. It was fun. I mean, it was really good. We didn't have any tech issues that day,
No,
thank goodness.
really. No.
And but some people did masterclass style and some people did interview style, and we could tell by the types of questions. We ask when you're going to do any type of an interview, like I like to be prepared. And
Right.
so, for instance, for this interview, you sent me information, I read it all.
Mhm,
I knew how to prepare for it, right? I
mhm.
have things open on my screen that I can reference.
Right.
I believe that when you're prepared, you feel more confident, and that
Right.
also helps imposter syndrome to go down.
Good
Um,
point.
because then you're confident, you're relaxed, you can kind of vibe a little bit more.
Mhm.
So I went into it knowing like if we were going to have a full day, I mean, it ended up being like 11 hours and 45 minutes by the time we were done. I don't know what we were thinking. It was aggressive. It was an
But
aggressive
you
day.
achieved it, and that's another point. You have to do things that scare you. When we stay
Yeah.
in our comfort zones, when we stay in those things that are easy for us to do, then we're not stretching ourselves and then we're not able to get to that next level because we're, tippy toeing into it. So you accomplished it. It was an ambitious goal, but you made it happen. It was an impressive day. It really was. I think Kelly already said it. She enjoyed the event. So most definitely.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, you know what? Annabelle and I are great facilitators, but we had 20 other speakers.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you're going to bring together a group of like powerhouses, I think it was like 19 women plus me and Annabelle plus one guy.
Yeah.
And we had our token male, Jonathan. And but we really wanted to go for it and give back. And when you go into that when you go into anything with that type of a spirit, again, going back to being an entrepreneur and imposter
Mhm.
syndrome, like we truly wanted to give the underdogs the ability to hit the ground running in 2022 with no
Great,
excuses.
great.
We told you guys up front, like you were going to drop gems big
Mhm,
time, like
mhm,
actionable,
mhm.
tactical stuff. And
Right.
so we felt really confident going in because we knew we were there to serve. And that's part of being an entrepreneur, right? At the
Mhm.
heart of it is you have that fire, like you talked about, and you just want to go for it. Anybody can own a business. David was there too. That's right. David Melton, I think is his last name.
2
Yeah.
men. There were
Two
2
men.
men.
Yeah. And, thank you, Kelly. Thank you for clearing that up for me. And, but, anybody can own a business. That's just the reality of it. And there's tons of business owners out there that have started their business because someone told them they should. because someone told them that will earn you money. And thank you, Nia. Thank you, Naya. And that's not entrepreneurialism. Entrepreneurialism in my heart is really leaning into breaking the rules and doing it your way, and feeling that passion.
Right. I agree. We're getting to the point of wrapping up the
Yeah.
episode. So I want to give everyone who's watching, please, if you have a question for Wendy, please put it in the chat. Put a capital Q in front of your question so that I can go to it quickly in the chat. But if you have a question for Wendy, please put it in the chat. She'll address it now. Also, for those who watch the replay, I'll be tracking the comments in the replay, and I welcome Wendy to do it as well for her to respond to any questions. But those who are with us now, most definitely, please put it in the chat. So some of the pieces or tips that I pulled from what you were saying, Wendy, is I love the red ocean versus blue ocean. And getting in that blue ocean, that fresh water, where uncharted territory, where we can just make our own paths, right? As entrepreneurs, as women entrepreneurs, and focusing in on our strengths, not looking towards our weaknesses, as people traditionally try to say. You look at your weaknesses and get those weaknesses better, hone in on them to strengthen the weaknesses, so to speak. When we do that, as you were saying, that can impact our imposter syndrome or build more imposter syndrome, because then we're looking and seeing others who are better than we are when it comes to those weaknesses. So focusing more on our strengths. And then the other point that I pulled out too is about the importance of being prepared. It was in reference to the summit, but in general, as women entrepreneurs, we have to be prepared to move forward in the tasks that we set before us. Again, I talked about, we do things scared, but we have to prepare ourselves so that we're more likely to be successful when we do those things that scare us. Did I capture that right?
Yes. Yes, and, of all of them, I don't know which one is the most important, but, I think, well, first of all, when you talk about disrupting, you have to find those blue oceans, and it's
I
not,
love that.
sometimes it feels a little bit like, "How am I ever gonna do that?" But really, sometimes just a slight pivot. You don't have to completely, charter a completely new territory. I mean, virtual summits have been around for several years now, right? People are actually might be even getting a little bit tired of virtual
Yeah.
summits. So now I've kind of created a new variation of it that people are like, their ears are perking up a little bit.
Right.
But with respect to being prepared, and one of the things about being prepared is people then feel like, do I need to over prepare? And the answer is no. Most of the time when I go into an interview or when I go into doing anything, I set my alarm on my phone for 10 minutes before whatever it is. And I take a bio break and I open up everything that I need on my screen. And I make sure that if I'm doing the interviewing, I have that person's website up on my screen. It's just those few little things that
Right.
you can reference, because
Right.
again, the confidence that you feel when you're prepared and
Yes.
relaxed
Yes.
is going to, you'll knock it out of the park with no matter what, sales calls, marketing, live
Right.
video, interview.
Right. Being prepared, most definitely. I
Mhm.
don't see any questions in the chat, so let me just I don't see any questions. So again, if you have one, put a capital Q and put your question for Wendy. Other than that, any final thoughts that you want to share, Wendy? It's been a pleasure having you. I've learned now, I have a better understanding. If I'm in a conversation with somebody, I can talk from an intellectual perspective about what audio summits are. But anything else you would like to share, especially as we're wrapping up 2021 and going into 2022, to fellow women entrepreneurs and being able to take their businesses to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I really wanna share is with regards to any type of audio marketing, you can incorporate audio marketing in so many different areas of your business, and it's very easy. And just by adding a little bit of audio to a video to give people a different way to consume your information, you're
Mhm.
exponentially going to attract more leads, because you're giving people options for consuming your content. And
Right.
a lot of people are audio learners,
Right.
Audible learners. The other thing is that focus on growing your email list. I want to say that a week and a half ago, I lost my Instagram account. I had 10.2
I heard
thousand
you say
followers.
that.
I
Yeah.
did. I lost it. And you don't see me crying. I'm not freaking out. You know, it felt like a stubbed toe versus a broken leg, right? Like it hurts for about 10 minutes and then you get over it
Because
versus
you were prepared though, because you had
because I
your
have an
backup
email
plan.
list.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Mhm.
prepared.
Yeah.
So don't build a custom home on a piece of rented property is the takeaway. Make sure
Okay.
that you're building your email list, and when you incorporate audio, you'll build it faster because you'll make it easier for people to listen, and also your client happiness factor will go up exponentially. So that's all I want to leave you with.
Great, great. So anyone wanting to get more information from Wendy, connect with her on LinkedIn, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have a free masterclass. If you want to just pop me a message right here in LinkedIn, and I'll happily send you over the link to grab it and watch it or listen to it.
Right. Connect with her on LinkedIn or Clubhouse, and even about people learn differently or different formats. And, I always share that I have this LinkedIn live show, but I don't just let the LinkedIn live show be the full extent of the content or the full reach of the content. I make it into a podcast version as well, and I put it on YouTube as well, but especially the podcast, because as you were saying, some people like to hear versus see,
Yep.
and hear at the same time. So getting further use of all of our content should be a strategy, when we're doing things online, not just like, okay, I did my LinkedIn live, or I did my Clubhouse summit, or I did my whatever. Because even after the Clubhouse summit, I loved how all the information you shared with us, transcripts and everything. I'm like, yes, this is phenomenal. But getting multiple usage out of all of what we do as much as we can. So the email list is gold for your business. Thanks for saying, oh, Kelly, yes, that's her expertise too. But thanks, Kelly. Thanks everyone for joining us. This has been great. I've appreciated all your comments, your engagement. Again, we're coming to the end of the year. The next episode is quickly coming as well, right after the holidays. So blessed holidays to all of you. Join us here again on December 28th, and we'll continue the conversation as always. But also remember that this is the end of the year. What's your LinkedIn life been like? For real, for real. Like, are you getting results from LinkedIn? If you're not getting results from LinkedIn for your business, you should be organically, not through ads. Yeah, you can through ads, but you can get them organically as well. And that's my specialty. So keep me in mind if you need a LinkedIn coach, one-on-one direct coach, connect with me.
I'm raising my hand. Yes, please.
Let's talk. I've been telling everyone in my sales calls this month, like the first quarter, I generally change my pricing in my packages. So this is a time for you to get with me if you're interested in locking in the rates that I have. And I'm sorry, I'm going to take you out just a moment. I'm going to bring you right back in. Wendy. But this is the time, and this is an old one, but I'm sorry, my hairstyle has changed. Yes, it's changed. Get over it. No. But this is the time to lock in at this rate, because the package will change and the rate will change in first quarter 2022. Because we always have to level up to another level, right? Boss up even more. But so if you have not gotten results on LinkedIn this year, that's not good. That means there's something amiss with what you're doing on the platform, your strategy or your approach, because you can build your business organically from LinkedIn. It's just understanding the best practices that go along with that, and that's where I come in. So you can see all of this information, even updated graphic, in my LinkedIn features section. But my LinkedIn power packages you can take advantage of that includes, even more than what's on here, for the investment of $9.97 into your business, 2-hour LinkedIn Power session, which is a coaching session, a work session where we do a digital makeover of your LinkedIn profile, where you get strategies on how to expand your network, where you get support and guidance with how to create content that establishes your brand and draws the right ideal clients to you. That is within 2 hours, as much as we can do. Then you got the 2 weeks priority access and support. Also, that's not on here. I create a custom LinkedIn content calendar for you. And then you get a 30-minute accountability session 30 days later. But if you're not getting results from LinkedIn, don't end the year in that state and then start the year doing the same thing. Like, get the results that you deserve. Don't leave money on the table, because that's what you're doing when you're not leveraging LinkedIn. You're leaving money on the table for your competition to grab instead of you. So, just a friendly offer again as we're closing out the year. DM me on LinkedIn and we can talk. We can have an intro session, or we can get right to business. How about that? I'm still taking appointments through the end of the year. And this is, as I'm saying that, this is one of my clients who has, from working and doing the follow-up and the putting in the work, all of her clients, and she publicly stated this on LinkedIn this week in my on my company page, all of her clients for her business she generated from LinkedIn. And she's a new business owner. So thank you. I didn't prompt her to say that, but it was perfect timing. So thank you, Shannon. She has an editing business. So if you're an author, or in the process of writing a book or other written documents or information, Shannon is the one for you. Literally, she's the one for you. But with that said, I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to close. Thank you again, Wendy, for being here with us.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I have to look more into your package too, because I think I want to really come out of the gate strong with LinkedIn. And also, now that we've done this, I kind of feel like maybe we should have a little mini LinkedIn summit one day, a little live mini LinkedIn summit, Clarene.
Come on, let's talk about it. I truly believe, and I'm not, because I try not to have this show about LinkedIn and my LinkedIn coaching and services, but LinkedIn is an untapped resource for business owners, entrepreneurs. People still have that mindset of it being just for job seekers, and it isn't. And there is this golden window of opportunity right now on the platform, because they're making so many changes that, like, if you just look at my profile and you see there's a video up under my profile image where I pitch my services, I share my elevator pitch. And I'm saying that's just one example of how there's so many features and options and sections and ways of using LinkedIn organically to build your businesses. You just have to do it. Let me stop, because again, that's where my passion is, and I will continue on. So with that said, everyone, have a blessed holidays. And I'll see you again back here on December 28th. And before I forget, so always remember, and it doesn't fit as well with my new hairstyle, but always remember to put your crowns on, the S's on your chests. So S on your chest, and be the boss women that you are. Boss up on LinkedIn, boss up with your business overall, and have the success that you want and deserve. See you next time, and on LinkedIn in the meantime. Bye-bye, everyone.